Alrighty. Hello. How's it going?
Hi, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. What have you been up to?
Not too much tonight. So I teach singing at home, so I just had some students all day.
Great.
But yeah, nothing too crazy. Bit of a relaxing day. I'm recording tomorrow, so I have a full day in the recording studio tomorrow, which is fun but daunting. But yeah.
That's awesome. Before we get into that, why don't we start with introducing yourself, telling us who you are and what you're all about?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Sophie. I'm a singer-songwriter. Um, I'm 21 and this year, I've been releasing a lot more music, and there's a lot more planned as well. So I got signed by a local record label, Vacant Room Records, which is a not-for-profit record label.
Awesome.
And ever since then, we've just kind of been doing a lot of recording and stuff. And yeah, obviously, COVID kind of chucked a spanner in the works for us, but yeah, we're looking forward to having a lot more stuff to put out really soon. Now that I have some more people on in my team.
Yeah, awesome. That's so exciting. Um, I've been
Thanks.
seeing the vacant rooms kind of pop up here and there, which is really cool to see that there's more things going on in Canberra because we really need that. Um,
Yeah.
recording tomorrow. What can we expect? Are you got something in the schemes?
Yeah, so I released a single in April called Early Bird. And I'm gonna have a second single pretty soon. But we're also trying to finish up an EP. It just depends on how we go with finishing everything off, whether it comes out this year or not, but
Mm.
hopefully really soon. We just have to it's tricky because I have a whole band that plays with me now, so trying to coordinate everyone's schedules and also have studio time and everything is a little bit tricky, especially at the moment, while a lot of people are kind of away from Canberra with their families, like quarantining there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it should be pretty good. Tomorrow I'm just finishing vocals for a song that will be on the EP, hopefully. Yeah,
How fun. Um,
yeah, it's really cool.
that's exciting. I haven't seen you play with a full band before, so I'm keen to see that.
Yeah, well,
Um,
we're playing next Friday for Live in Your Lounge,
yes.
so that'll be cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
and that'll be my whole band, and we'll be playing most of the stuff that will be released soon, hopefully.
Ooh.
Just kind of no one's putting any dates on anything at the moment, I don't think, because of coronavirus, and we don't want to like release something and not be able to play shows or anything
Yeah.
straight after. So it's a little bit tricky, but it's cool.
Yeah, cool. And how has this virus impacted you? Have you I can see you've got music equipment behind you, so have you been doing a lot of music from home? Have you found any inspiration in this time?
I think at the start I was kind of taking it as like I can slow down a little bit, but now I'm really trying to just like collaborate with one or two people at a time and record a lot of things. So I'm trying to get more into the producing type of thing rather and not like beat making, but in terms of like overall sound, like this needs more drums and this is the drum pattern we should have, for example.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just doing a bit more practice in that and just writing songs in general. Live in Your Lounge has been really good to kind of have something for us to work towards and to still like be rehearsing with the band and everything. Because it felt like I built up a bunch of momentum at the end of last year and then suddenly it like all these shows that we had planned and stuff had to just kind of disappear. So it's kind of been good to not completely drop off the face of the earth by just coming up with my own sort of projects and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, great. And I've been seeing on your Instagram little collaborations over like videos. So how has that kind of been brought to life?
Yeah, so through APRA MCOS, which is just like for those who don't know, it's kind of an organization that helps pay musicians what they are entitled to for lots of different reasons, whether it's for songwriting reasons or for streaming or something like that. Um, they're just kind of like a middle person to connect artists with the funding that they're supposed to have. They had a lot of opportunities this year for mentoring and things like that. So I've had a few really cool mentorship opportunities with there's a Brisbane like top line writer called Penny Pariah who I worked with.
Hmm.
And she's really cool and just had like a bunch of just like advice and songwriting stuff in general. And then a few weeks after that, I did one with Tandy Phoenix, who she's like a singer, and does a bunch of collaborating and stuff. And we just kind of wrote a song over Zoom, which was really cool. And
Yeah,
then
sick.
last week I had another one with Anna Lavity, who's a female producer from Sydney, I think, and she is just like a really prolific producer and was just kind of giving me life advice about the music industry in general because it's really kind of hard to navigate,
Yeah.
especially at the moment. But yeah,
Yeah. What do you reckon is going to be like coming out of all of this crazy time with
uh,
restrictions being eased and
I've kind of said to everyone that I think that like the second half of the year is just going to be really busy.
yeah.
I think as soon as things start to open, everyone's going to want to do their own shows and everyone's going to need a support act.
Yeah.
Um, And if like I've kind of been talking to my band about this, that if we put in effort now and do a really good show for like Live in Your Lounge and things like that, then we're more likely to be remembered when people are looking for other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's kind of tricky because you don't know like what the restrictions are going to be in terms of live music, because I know that's probably going to be one of the last things to come back into play. Um, but I imagine when it is, everyone's going to want to put on shows. It's not even just necessarily that everyone will want to go to shows, but it's just that all the musicians will just want to put on their own shows.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like the busiest 6 months ever. But it'll be like, that's great. It's good to actually be doing a whole heap. But it's like suddenly we stopped and it's just going to go, shoo.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think everyone I've been talking to is really itching to play live music again, so
Yeah, yeah, most people are.
cool. And going back to last year when things weren't quite as crazy, you judged a talent competition, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I a few years ago, I competed in like this talent competition, and they asked me back each year to judge, which is really nice. It's kind of cool because they always have like a celebrity judge that you get to hang out with for the day. And I just kind of sit there, but it's like all fancy and they have like a velvet like fence
Ooh.
around you and stuff because they have to like protect the actual celebrity and then you just kind of hang out there. But yeah, no, it's really cool. It's cool to see like all the new talent coming up out of Canberra. And one of the dancers that was in the competition last year is like in one of my music videos this year
Oh, cool.
that haven't been released yet. But yeah, it's definitely like really cool to see who's coming up.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, like even if you don't win these kinds of things, like it's such a good way to get to know other people and see what other people are
Yeah,
doing.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
I've judged another competition at Woden Youth Centre called Liftoff. And you said that
Mm.
you had competed in that. Do you want to share your story for
Yeah.
that?
So I was in Liftoff maybe when I was in like year 11 or 12. And most of the bands in Liftoff are pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like little, it was back when I was kind of a solo act and I just played the ukulele and sang. And like that was great for a while it lasted, which is fun. But yeah, I definitely was not the same demographic as everybody else. And so
Yeah.
the band that won was like this super heavy metal band and I came second. Um, and I was kind of annoyed, but I was like, oh, whatever. Like, this is just like all up to other people's tastes and stuff. That's totally fine.
Mm.
But someone in the crowd owned a recording studio and liked me better and was like, I want to give you a free like recording at my studio. So then that's how like my very first single when I was like in year 11 or something came out.
Yeah, cool.
It was just because of Lift Off and because like someone in the crowd was on board with what I was doing. So yeah, I think all of the opportunities that I've kind of had have just been like really lucky breaks.
Mm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but that
Yeah,
was
that's
kind of
sick. Again,
yeah,
like
it's
it
pretty
doesn't
random.
matter if you win, it's someone can be watching you in the
It's
crowd.
yeah, it's almost like the most random gigs that you play. Like that was in the middle of Woden and it was freezing cold and like blowing like crazy and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, this gig sucks. Like this is so weird. And yeah, and then that happened. So it's like it's always the weirdest gigs that end up being the coolest because such interesting opportunities come from the interesting crowds that they have, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't they always have like a little reptile zoo and a jumping castle and stuff at the
Yeah, it's
Liftoff?
just such a weird vibe, you know? It's like a jumping castle and like screamo bands, and I'm just really confused. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's cool. It's great that everyone has these opportunities that they're making. But yeah, it's so random. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
that's the
It's
Canberra
awesome.
scene in general. There's like one event where everyone comes no matter what
Yeah,
your genre is, and
everyone.
it's just like, whoa.
There is a lot of mixed genre gigs around town. I've
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
I've organized a few and been to a few. It's like someone pulls out and it's like, oh well, that's everyone in that genre. So gonna ask someone
Mm,
else.
yeah, it's so weird being like the acoustic, pretty, like folky girl at the start of like a heavy metal gig.
Yeah,
It's the weirdest vibe because everyone's like, "Oh, that was really nice," and then they like headbang. It's just
yeah.
really odd. But anyway,
Which
you
is
know,
kind of
I
nice because it shows how diverse Canberra is and that don't
yeah, yeah, yeah.
people are
Of
into
course,
music here. They
of
don't have an
course, yeah.
ego and only listen to one thing. So that's cool.
Mm.
um, have you been listening to anyone new lately that you found in your spare time? And
Hang on, let me like pull up Spotify. I have this one guy that I'm kind of obsessed with.
yeah,
Um, what's his name? Sorry. Um, but yeah, I don't know, just a lot of like I've been trying to become just like a bit more aware of who's playing locally as well. So just like connecting with other musicians on Instagram and stuff
yeah, cool.
locally is really cool. Oh, okay. So his name's Jens Kuros, which
Hmm.
is he's kind of weird, but he has a lot of interesting kind of arty albums and he has a really nice voice. But it's kind of like I feel like there's a lot of like guys with nice voices that all kind of sound the same, but I think
Yeah,
his production is really interesting in the way that he does stuff like behind his voice to make it
hmm,
different to everybody else. That's really cool.
yeah,
But
cool,
yeah. Mm.
awesome. We'll have
And
to
he has
check
a
him
lot
out.
of albums, so I've just kind of been like blasting them.
Nice. And in terms of your music, who are you inspired by?
Um, a lot of people. I think like they'll often I'm very much like an albums person that like I'll hear one song and then go and listen to the whole album.
Hmm.
And so the Ainsley Wills, who's like this Australian singer-songwriter, she's really cool and I listened to her album earlier in the year and I was just like, this is so cool. And then immediately wrote like three songs. Um, and she just does I think because she kind of has a similar background to me in the way that she like studied a jazz degree but then wanted to make pop music that it's like she does some really interesting things.
Cool.
um yeah, and some other people like Greta Ray, kind of Missy Higgins vibes, Regina Spektor. Yeah, a lot.
Nice.
I have a
And
big playlist full of cool female artists that I just love. So
awesome. And what got you into music? Was it something that you kind of fell into, or was it like a moment that you had that really inspired you to pick up
um
a guitar? Or
not really. I just like so I started singing when I was really little. I like did singing lessons when I was like 4 years old.
yeah,
And
right.
I have always kind of sung all through school. And then I also really loved maths and I did maths a lot in like year 10 and 11. And I was kind of, when I was starting year 11, I kind of had to decide like whether I wanted to do something super academic or whether I wanted to do music. Because music was just kind of always like like I'd go to singing lessons every week and that was just kind of like my hobby thing. I didn't
Yeah.
really play gigs. Um, and then in year 11, I got accepted into, so ANU has like a course for year 11 and 12 students called the
Hmm.
H course. And I got accepted into their jazz program. And I kind of had to like work it out with my school whether I wanted to just do one of those things. And I did both for all of year 11. And then they were like, maths isn't really doing anything for you. You should do music. So then I just kind of just focused on music for a really long time. Um, and I think like it kind of just has grown a lot in terms of when I first started playing gigs, I would just offer to play for free at like charity events and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of grown. And then in second year uni, I started writing my own stuff really seriously. And I just play by myself still on piano. And then kind of last year was when I formed the band, which has added a completely different element to everything. And I think it's like really changed the way that I write as well, in terms of like while I'm writing, I don't just think of things that sound pretty with my voice, but just like I'll think, oh, Ollie will sound really cool playing this little guitar lick or things like that. But yeah, I mean, everything's kind of changed. I think um, I kind of stick on one thing for a couple of years and then I'm
Mm.
like, okay, time to learn something new. So at the moment, I'm trying to learn how to do more production stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. And in terms of writing, what's your writing process like? Do you have like a set kind of structure, or is it a little bit um, in the moment?
Kind of depends. So like there's been scenarios like if I'm at a writing camp or something where I'll literally have to like write a song in a day or an hour or something.
Mhm.
Which is a really fun exercise, but it's also like really stressful. But the
Yeah.
song that I'm recording tomorrow, so it's like the record label's favorite song, and I don't even really like it. But
Right.
I wrote it in literally an hour at this songwriting camp where I had to write about the moon landing. And it's
Hmm.
completely like irrelevant to anything, but the label really liked it. And once they were like, that's the song that we decided to sign you with. So I have to record it. And I was like,
Right.
yeah, that's cool. But there's some songs that I really like of mine that have spent like a couple of days or a couple of weeks. So there's been a couple of rewrites, but then there's others that I just like sit down for an hour and smash out. So I wouldn't say there's really a process. I just say that I think if I'm losing inspiration, I have to switch instruments and try something new. Or if I haven't written in a while, it's really good to just kind of like get a clear perspective by trying something else. Or writing on guitar before I write vocals, or writing vocals first and then adding an instrument or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's tricky.
Yeah. Cool. Um, that's sick. I was also going to ask if you can tell us, it might not be released yet, but what your favorite song of yours is.
Well, I've only kind of released two songs, and I really like Early Bird, which is the one that I released in April.
Yeah.
But I think it took a lot of there was a lot of rewriting and stuff that happened with that has kind of like made the meaning of it a little bit confusing. But the next single that I'm gonna release is called Afterthought.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be saying it, but anyway, here I am. But it's really cool. It's just like I think it's about like a really specific moment in time where I felt kind of left behind, but then I feel like it can be related to a lot of other people, and just the way that I've written it, I'm really happy with.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, it's a bit depressing, but it's really pretty, so that's fine.
I feel like that's what we need. Everyone's a bit depressed and we want to feel pretty, so.
Yeah, I think I say this a little bit, but I feel like with my writing, because I'm generally pretty happy, that I'll often write songs when I'm sad, because that's like I'll suddenly feel different, and that's like
Yeah.
sticks out to me. And I only really write about things that are specific to me when they stick out. And so I have a lot of sad songs because um it's just like whenever I feel unhappy, I'll write a song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of have to work on writing happy things, I suppose, but that's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Um, and going back to performing on stage, hopefully we can get back to that soon. But what has been your favorite on stage moment so far?
Um, I had a show last year. So it was originally supposed to be at the front, and then we sold it out. So then I had to upgrade it to UC Hub, and it was the first time that like the band had played like a full hour-long show.
Mhm.
Um, and that was really cool because that was just all my original music, and I had sport acts that I really liked, and I organized it all myself. And that's just like so many people there that I was really grateful that came. So that was pretty special. But the last gig I played was um, I was playing for, so GTM, when GTM was going to be a thing, but it had to cancel because of coronavirus. They
Yeah.
have a bunch of events in the lead up to GTM, and they had a launch party, um, which is basically just like usually that happens like closer to when they first announce the date, like announce who's playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I think they were just like a little bit behind schedule. So it was like 2 weeks after they'd announced the lineup, they had this like party at the Polo. And we played there. And I think that was our last gig from memory. But um, yeah, we definitely had like other things lined up and then they got cancelled. So it's kind of hard to remember. But um, yeah, that one was also really cool. Just because of the fact that it was like GTM as well was like a very exciting
Yeah.
experience. But yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, maybe we'll start to wrap it up just so that we don't get kicked off.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
but yeah, so you're recording. What else can we expect from you in the future?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say just because of coronavirus, but I mean, hopefully we get to play more shows. I know that Vacant Room Records is doing some really amazing things um, for me, and they've signed another Canberra artist, Eden Plenty, who hasn't like he hasn't played very much, but he's a really wonderful musician and just a wonderful human in general. And so they're really kind of doing a lot of kind of artist development as well as just recording us and really working together gigs and stuff. But the next thing to be excited about is Live in Your Land, which I'm very excited about. It looks like Australian Idol. It's ridiculous. Like it's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But
They've got a really good
yeah.
production set up there.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it's gonna be wild. But yes. I'm a bit scared though because it's in a big warehouse and I think it's gonna be really cold. Um
Yeah,
and yeah, but we'll see.
yeah.
If I look a little bit blue on the live stream, then that's why.
You can blame it on the lighting, don't worry.
Yeah, if I'm like shivering with my microphone.
Well, it's a huge production, so I'm sure all of those lights will keep you warm.
Yeah, hopefully there is some portable heaters.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Mm.
I'll put all of your links in the description so people can find you nice and easy.
Thank you.
Anything else that you'd like to add or plug while we're here?
Not really. Just yeah, definitely like check out Bacon Room Records, and that's probably about it.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for joining me this lovely Friday evening.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. We'll end it there. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you next week.